And I'm doing the small tube exactly the same way. I'm just using a smaller rubber band. So I'm going to use the thick CA glue here, and it's important that you realize that this vice grip is not tight. It's just holding this down so it doesn't slide around on me. I don't have a whole lot of time here, so okay, that's about halfway. Now I'm going to use the curing agent just on this end here. The reason for that is so that it will harden first, and then I'll be able to pull this elastic band out. And the elastic band usually helps to pull out any CA glue that might be, well, not all of the CA glue, but quite a bit of it that's in the brass tube. And there will be some. Okay, this you can't see the end here too well, of course, but it's turned white. And this end should still be soft, or anyway. Let's just see what happens here now. There, see that? Brass tube stayed in there. Now the idea is if I want to reuse this stick, I got to get this off right away. Now this elastic band is ruined now. I can't reuse that one. Notice it turns white right away. That's interesting. I'd like to know what causes that. I want you to notice the space between the brass tube and the wood. Well, you can't help but notice it. It's real obvious this time. And I have to fill that in with glue. Otherwise, I risk blowing it out when I'm turning it on the lathe. Especially when I'm going to be, having it really thin, like it will be on this particular kit, especially on the cap. What I'm going to try and do here is, using the medium viscosity, just going to try and fill up those cracks. And I'm going to be careful not to inhale any fumes that might start. Okay, I think that's got this end. Yeah. Didn't take very much. It was probably only the end. Oh, this one will be a little harder here. You have to go real easy. Yeah, it's running in pretty good on this one. You can tell when you've got it because you can't get any more in the crack. That makes sense, doesn't it? Well, anyway, you get the idea. I actually have to do this a lot. I don't think I've actually showed it before, that's all. Up until now, I've been using this brand of accelerator. I don't know if there's any difference between this and what I bought from William Woodwright, a couple of months ago already, but I just was waiting for this one to empty out because I didn't want to waste it. But there's hardly anything left in there. And so I'm just going to dump it, and I'm going to try this new accelerator. And it's going to be very interesting to see if the CA glue turns white when I use this. Some people have said they've never seen that before. So I'm thinking possibly it's the accelerator I've been using. Well, soon know. Now I have very carefully trimmed down the ends on the table saw, get rid of the excess glue that was on the end. However, I still got to get those plugs out and then completely clean the inside of the brass tubes from any residue. And of course, obviously that's so that the pen parts won't jam and break something. And I want to emphasize, I did it very carefully on the table saw. Now I also want to be careful that I don't accidentally pull the glue out of the cracks. You know, where there was those voids that I filled in. Don't know if I've ever actually done that, but I can envision it happening. So I'm just sort of nibbling it off just a little bit at a time here as I go around with this sharp cutter. This works okay. Anyway, you get the idea. None of these barrel trimmer shafts are the same size, except these two right here. One has a cutting edge and the other is just plain. I personally like the plain ones the best. However, only this one fits perfectly in the smaller tube. It's a nice fit. It's not tight and it's not loose, just right. However, even my largest one is too small for this one. So I'm wondering, why can't I take one of my extra ones, like this one right here that I, don't particularly like very much. The reason I don't like it is because it's too easy to damage the inside of the brass tube with this type. Whereas the smooth ones, I don't have that problem. So anyway, why can't I take this extra one and make a sleeve for it that will fit inside here? In other words, I'll take that piece of brass tubing that I've got, or it's not tubing, it's solid bar, and turn it down so that it just nicely fits in there, and drill a hole in it that will fit this. And yeah, I think this might just work. Be kind of fun to try anyway. This brass rod is 3/4 of an inch in diameter. I'm going to drill a pilot hole in the end of it. The hole that I actually have to drill for that cutter is a 1/4 inch hole. The pilot hole is in approximately 1 inch now. And I was thinking probably that's as far as I need to go. I don't need to go all the way through. So I'm thinking all I have to do here is I just have to make sure that the cutter on the barrel trimmer is as low as this. So if the hole, let's say the hole goes to about here, I just cut this off. Yeah, that should work. Now, as I mentioned, this cutter is just a smidgen under 1/4 of an inch. Unfortunately, 1/4 inch is the closest I've got. I don't have any other bit that is just right. So they're either too small, or in this case, just a smidgen too big. But I think this will be okay. I'm sort of planning on gluing it in anyway with epoxy, and the epoxy's going to need a little bit of room in there.